Presented by Slovaceks. I know our next guest knows a little something about that place. Paul Biancardi, ESPN recruiting director, also college basketball and NBA draft, college basketball recruiting and NBA draft analyst. Coach, great to have you back on board.
Yeah, we did this a couple of weeks ago, a month ago.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. We could have did it for 8 hours.
Well, the best part about that was that stuck out to me, and I know our viewers really enjoyed, was the insight you gave us into Cooper Flagg's personality.
Yes.
And it was really cool. We got a chance to talk about social media, how it affects some of the young guys today, and it was really insightful. People were super into that. But you also, as the season came to a close and the college basketball footprint got smaller, the rest of the country got to know Cooper Flagg, and it was really clear everything you said was a bullseye.
Yeah, he's the real deal. I mean, he's clear-cut number one. He's pure. He's simple. He's going to make any franchise win in time. Not going to happen right away, but there isn't anything he can't do or won't do during the course of a game to help his team win. He's the ideal number one pick.
A question off the top, just this is kind of your basketball acumen. He misses that shot against Houston, right? Now, I don't think that'll affect him as a pro, right? Like, you know, maybe it would have been better if he made it, right? You go back to like the MJ, you know, in 82. But do you think he'll be answering that question for the rest of his life, like, or talking about that for the rest of his life, or no?
I think in his mind, he's going to hold on to it. He missed the shot, Pete, as a junior in the Chipotle Nationals championship semifinal. He missed a bunny, and he was down for a long time. Came back to win the championship next year. His team went undefeated. So he's a bounce-back guy. So it will haunt him a little bit now. There'll be some questions early, but I don't think there's going to be many questions. I think he's going to think about it a lot more than the media will. The thing about him that I love the most, and we talked about him endlessly, is he's going to produce right away. Like number one picks, you always say, well, they have a lot of potential. They could be this. He's going to be one of the guys on his team right away. Like you don't have to wait for him, and he's got upside. So he's the perfect balance. He's going to hold on to that missed shot for a little while, but eventually he'll let it go.
I love the bounce back background on that. Now I want to get to the top 100 coming in to college basketball. Of course, we're in Big 12 country. A lot of people, especially in Central Texas, Baylor fans, are revved up about Tundday Yafu. And you talked about him coming off the Hoop Summit. You said there's a lot of heat around this young man right now.
I'm telling you, he has opened the eyes of NBA scouts more than anyone else. They knew about A.J. Dybantsa. They knew about Darren Peterson going to Kansas. They knew about Cameron Boozer. They were saying Tundday Yafu to me. He's Anthony Edwards-like with his frame. He's 6'5". He is chiseled and explosive. The jump shot is starting to come around. But what opened the eyes of NBA scouts and opens the eyes of all scouts plays with endless energy. I mean, I haven't seen a player play with this type of energy in a long time. Consistent energy, Pete. He'll go for the 50-50 ball. He'll look for the slam dunk. He'll guard the best player. He took on A.J. Dybantsa at the Hoop Summit. He'll take on any challenge, and he's going to be an inspiration of a person and a player at Baylor. You know, he plays with joy, and didn't Scott Drew write a book about joy?
He sure did. It's in here somewhere.
Yeah. It better be.
Yeah. So a little more on Tundday. I know you saw his Hoop Summit performance. You know, that was his first run with the big dogs on a national stage, at least, that I'm familiar with. Anything about that game in particular and his performance there jump out as a microcosm of who he really is, who you knew he was?
Well, he also jumped out at McDonald's in the practices the week before and in the game. So
let's start with McDonald's. I know you were there, boots on the ground.
Yeah, on the broadcast with our guy Ted Emmerich, our Texas guy.
Yeah, Teddy.
Yeah. and Corey Alexander, the former McDonald's All-American.
Yes, yes.
So there were two talented guys and me on the broadcast. But anyway, no, Tundday, he decided to play defense at McDonald's and also at the Hoop Summit. When I say play defense, I mean he was guarding A.J. Dybantsa, Peterson, whoever he can get his hands on in practice and in the games. Like, he plays unafraid, and he plays with real joy. But it's the energy level that impressed the NBA scouts. They were texting me during the McDonald's game saying, is he really this good? Because the jump shot started to come on in practice and in the McDonald's game. Same thing at the Hoop Summit. So now they're seeing somebody that they can kind of, put in a box, so to speak, and say, gee, looks like Anthony Edwards. He plays with real energy. Jump shot looks pretty good. I put him in the top 10. He was 15 in the country. I moved him into the top 10, which, anytime you move into a top 10 in anything, you're really good. So he's come on as of late, had a fantastic high school career at St. Joseph's. He's an NBA candidate right now.
You're around these guys, at McDonald's, right? You see them, like you mentioned about the practices. That's the best stuff, right? To take us behind the curtain. Yeah. You've been around this game for a very long time, around some of the best coaches and players in basketball history. Body language-wise, anything you picked up from Tundday that you noticed and you said, oh, okay?
Always has a smile, except for when he plays. And he still plays with joy. He just doesn't smile as much. But when he walks into the restaurants, the hotel lobby, smiling, taking pictures with people, he's very accessible. He's very approachable. And Baylor fans are going to love that. And then when he gets on the court, it's all about business. But his body language, extremely positive. Everything is always upright. He's always got a smile. He figures out the challenges, and he takes on the challenges.
So what kind of impact do you think he'll have in the Big 12 as a freshman?
Well, I think he's going to start based on his performances, and he'll be a two-way player for Scott Drew, so he'll be able to guard and switch. Very switchable player. Strong enough to switch onto power forwards at 6'5", and definitely quick enough and athletic enough to switch on to point guards. So on the defensive end, I think he'll fit in real well. Offensively, he'll play a 2 or a 3. Okay, could play a small ball 4. You got versatility on offense as well. The jump shot opened the eyes of NBA scouts, okay? But it's not polished yet. It's not consistent yet. His greatest scoring is going to come at the rim. Finishing plays, lobs, and he'll get to the free throw line. He's not a shooter right now, but he made some shots, and he makes him very intriguing with his body. Great driver. Like, you don't want to stand in front of him and take a charge.
Yeah. A.J. Dybantsa. That's a guy I would never want to get in the way of. You've been watching him, and he's been on your radar for years now. But in these all-star games, on these bigger stages, did you see him deliver the goods? Did he meet expectation? Because the expectations are here.
Yeah, number ones never meet expectations, right? They strive for expectations. I don't know if you watched the dunk competition, but he dunked over Angel Reese.
Yeah.
A.J. Dybantsa, that's trust and athleticism combined. She stood under the basket, and he jumped over her and pounded it home. It was great. By the way, Tundday won the dunk competition. So there's the kind of athlete he is. He beats A.J. Dybantsa in the dunk show. He's delivered. He's had some up and down moments, but he's delivered mostly because he is the best player in the class in terms of upside. Speaking to all the NBA scouts, if there was a draft today on the class of 2025, he would be the number 1 pick as of today. Now, that could change because of Peterson and Boozer, but he's 6'9", and he has the athleticism of a Tracy McGrady, of a LeBron James at the same stage. The athleticism is NBA-like right now. And he's a gifted scorer. He's got that takeover ability. Excellent defender when he decides to sit down and guard. He could do a lot of things on the floor at 6'9" that most guys can't do at 6'2", 6'3". So he has the guard skills, the NBA athleticism, and his ability to score the ball has really improved. Again, not a great shooter. None of these guys that I think we're going to talk about are going to be great shooters in college, but they're going to be capable enough. He's got a nice jump shot. But don't forget, Tundday, A.J. Dybantsa, they never had to shoot the ball. They could get to the cup whenever they wanted. And then if they stop in the paint, they rise up and fire over defenders. So the jump shot has to improve. But I'll tell you what, man, all eyes are going to be on in Provo, Utah next season. He's dynamic. He's dynamic in the open floor. He's dynamic in tight spaces. He's really agile. He's going to be fun to watch. And Kevin Young, I think his team has built a nice group around A.J. Dybantsa. They got the point guard, Rob Wright from Baylor. I know that hurts Baylor, but that really helps BYU. He is a proven and trusted point guard. They got Richie Saunders, the shooter. They're surrounding him with the right pieces, and the big kid in the middle, Kebakita.
What about what they're doing at BYU? I just want you to put on your college basketball analyst cap here, just strictly a collection of major talent. But you've got a guy who is the master developer of talent in Kevin Young, and he's got those NBA roots that can kind of put these guys, mainline them hopefully, right? They hope to the league. All that talent, only one basketball. How does that work out for a team like that? It's just going to be interesting now with the NIL and players kind of as we move into the house settlement to pay for play. But, you can really load up now, right? And I'll be really interested to see how the Cougars do next year. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the team is built around AJ. So they're not loading AJ up with more talent like AJ. They're surrounding AJ with talent that fits with his game. Rob Wright doesn't need to shoot to impact the game, though he can make open shots. Kebakita is going to rebound, score, screen, defend. Richie Saunders, he's going to space the floor for AJ. So Kevin Young and his staff decided, let's build around AJ, which you have to do. Then they have the big shot blocker coming in, the freshman, Xavion Staten, who can block shots, but he's painfully thin right now, but he gets a few minutes. So the team is built around him. Some other programs, sometimes they try to get a bunch of talented players like A.J. Dybantsa and try to do it with talent and then returning players. Like I thought Duke did a masterful job with Con Knippel, Cooper Flagg, right? Those were the stars. They had the graduate transfers. They had some returning players. They had a nice formula. But when you look at BYU, they're building it around A.J. Dybantsa, and I think everybody knows that and understands that.
That's a credit to Kevin Young. How do you see him coming through so far? Short time at BYU, but clearly a developer of talent. How is that NBA environment there that they've kind of created, right? The program's almost like an NBA organization. It is very attractive to some of these young recruits. Have you heard that on the recruiting trail, that has become a hot place? We talk about the money, but I truly do believe a lot of these guys are attracted to that NBA aura that is around Kevin Young.
There's no question about it. A.J. Dybantsa told me, and he said it publicly, he had a chance to go play for coaches that put guys in the NBA. Kevin Young has coached NBA players. Big difference. That's what A.J. Dybantsa wanted, somebody who's coached in the NBA. So he found his perfect match. He found the NIL, which was tremendous, and he found somebody who's coached in the NBA. It all worked out perfectly for A.J. and Kevin Young and BYU. I mean, yeah, you can have all the money in the world. If you don't have the right head coach that can run a team and manage a team and organize things, it's not going to work. You can't buy yourself to championships. You can buy yourself to talent. And I'll tell you something else you can't buy, Pete. You can't buy chemistry. You can't buy togetherness. And you can see the way Kevin Young gets his team to play together on the offensive end. And that's huge. The chemistry is so big when you get to February and March. Talent is a must, but you're not going to win at a high level without chemistry and togetherness. And I think he fosters that from his time in the NBA.
Well, covering the Big 12 this season, I don't think Bill Self would argue that chemistry was an issue sometimes at Kansas. They have a guy like Darren Peterson coming in, who is one of the best recruits in all of college basketball, certainly coming into the Big 12. What have you seen from him that has made you say, oh, this guy is something special?
He's a stud. He's a star. If it wasn't for A.J. Dybantsa, he'd be number one in the class. In fact, most classes, he would be number one. Think about this, Pete. He's 6'6" as a scoring guard. He's got to move himself to a point guard, but he can handle it because he can read the game. 6'11" wingspan. You put that on the defensive end at the point of attack on the ball. He is great on the offensive end when it comes to pick and roll offense. I track Cenac a lot, and he scores 50% of the time in high school in pick and roll situations. So he does a great job of reading the game, playing the game. Never gets rattled. I mean, he could have played at Kansas last year and maybe pushed them past Arkansas. Who knows? I mean, he's that good, and he's that poised. He's composed, scores at will, gets to his spots. I think he's going to have a Cooper Flagg-like effect at Kansas. I really do. Now, it depends what Bill does to surround him, with other talent. I know they got a lot of transfers coming in. And thank goodness they got the big guy back, Flory Badunga.
Yeah.
They needed him in the middle. You need a stud, a star in the middle that can protect the rim and rebound and be a presence in college basketball on both ends of the floor. You got Trey Wade coming in from Illinois, I believe, Melvin Council from St. Bonaventure. So you put the right team around Darren Peterson, he can put the team on his back. He's that good.
When you talk about these recruits coming in, Chris Cenac is someone who I think folks were surprised that he ended up going to Houston. And he is going to be such a blessing for Kelvin Sampson in that program. Just in some of the film that I've seen, it's like he's a real eye-opener. Being around him, what does he bring to a Cougar program that needs, an influx of young talent now with, you got Jawan Roberts moving on. That's a big hole to fill. I don't want to say can he fill it because that's putting a lot on him, but what can he do in his freshman year?
Well, first of all, they lost a ton of experience, but they come in with mega talent as a freshman class. This is a top 5 recruiting class for Kelvin Sampson. We talk about, the Big 12 has, 7 5-star players. 2 of them are going to Houston. So Chris Cenac Jr. is one of them. He's 6'10". He hasn't even scratched the surface yet. I mean, this guy's going to be like a piece of clay for Kelvin Sampson. Bouncy with great hands, agile inside, can score at the rim, can score at the paint. He'll be a shot blocker. And he's 6'10" with a 7'3" wingspan. So you got to give Kelvin Sampson some time just to mold him on the defensive end, right? Get him to get down in his stance and play aggressive defense the way Houston plays. When that happens, you're going to see Houston's defense next year take a step. It may take a step back because they lost all the experience. When you lose experience, it usually shows on the defensive end first. This kid is loaded with lottery-type talent. He shoots threes. Now, I don't want him shooting a lot of threes at Houston next year, but he's capable to shoot the three. I mean, you're going to see him pick and pop and then drive it to the basket at 6'10" and go, oh, my goodness, did he just do that? And then he's going to go in the post. He's going to jump hook you up and under. He scores a little bit from all 3 levels, and he can be a presence on the defensive end with that 7'3" wingspan. Great athlete. Tremendous recruit for Kelvin Sampson. Kelvin takes talent as well as anyone, if not the best, and turns them into defenders. I haven't seen many coaches do that.
Well, you're exactly right. And being around him, he's a unique blend, right? Of teacher, mentor and coach, hardcore coach, right? At times, but so you get a guy like Cenac Jr. in there. What's Cenac Jr.'s commitment level? What you know about it so far as it relates to 1-year guy, 2-year guy, 3-year guy? Because we know Coach Sampson thrives off the development, and so do the players playing under him. They thrive off being able to work under a legend like that. Is this a guy who might stay 1 or 2 or 3 years, or at least 2 years?
Well, the problem is this. He's so talented and Kelvin Sampson's so good, he's probably going to have to go after 1 year. I mean, as soon as he has a couple of double-doubles, the NBA is going to jump right on it. They already have him on their radar, okay? I've talked to scouts about this class ad nauseum already because they're trying to get ready for the college season. If you can believe it, they haven't even drafted in June yet, and they're looking ahead. But that's what scouts do. That's what recruiters do. They do their homework. When I talked to Chris and his dad, he told me we wanted hard. We wanted to be coached hard because when I interviewed him, I said, now you know who you're going to play for. You know how demanding it's going to be. And he says, I want hard. I need hard. And Kelvin Sampson's perfect for me. So he totally understands what he's getting into. I love that. Yeah, he knows what he's getting into. When I talked to his dad said the same thing. So, I mean, I've known Kelvin since he coached at Washington State, and I was at Boston College, and we played him in the 8-9 game, and we beat him. Okay.
Really?
Yeah, but you talk about holding on to games. He says that game still bothers me. He said that to me on the recruiting trail. Like, this is a guy who's the ultimate competitor with Kelvin Sampson. So he's going to do wonders for Chris Cenac Jr. And what's going to happen is he's going to play himself into a lottery pick.
Now, we talked about, I love talking Big 12. We talked about the top 3 guys coming into the Big 12, but 16 of them, the top 100, are headed to play at Big 12 schools as of right now. Who do we not talk about that you are hearing about a lot? I mentioned it earlier with Tundday, a lot of heat around him. Any other player that's experiencing kind of momentum upwards?
There's also 2 kids going to Arizona.
There you go.
Koa Pete.
Oh, yeah.
6'8" animal going to Arizona. He is the ideal power forward. Won a state championship. I mean, the kid just wins. He competes. He rebounds. He played USA basketball, won a gold medal with Cameron Boozer and A.J. Dybantsa. He knows how to be part of a team. They also have a guard coming in, Braden Burries, a 6'5" guard who can really fill it up from the mid-range and deep. Caleb Love leaves Arizona. Braden Burries comes in. He plays with Jaden Bradley. Love those 2 going to Arizona. Keep an eye on Sean Abayev, the 6'7" shooter going to Cincinnati. One of the best shooters in the country. He's got great size. He was a top 30 prospect in the class.
I love it. Coach, let's do one more. I know you got a busy schedule, but I got 2 more for you. I want to talk about the NBA draft for a second, and then I do want to go back to one more Baylor recruit. But VJ Edgecombe, a Baylor product, right, who's now going to the NBA. I just saw him recently on an ESPN mock or CBS mock that had him going 3 to Charlotte. Kind of early, right?
Yeah.
But it's, we haven't even done the lottery yet. But he's top 3 right now. Where do you see a guy like him fitting in the NBA?
Two-way guy. A guy who's got great – they love his athleticism as I do. I moved him to number 3 in the class. You talk about number 3. I don't think he's number 3 in this draft. I have him more at 4, possibly 5. He doesn't have a skill that translates just yet, and his motor, which was sensational in high school, but it was off and on at Baylor. I mean, it was good, but they're looking for Tundday type motor in the NBA, right? That's how you separate yourself. So they'd like to see a little bit more motor from him. But when I saw him in high school, the three-point shot really came along. His drive game is a straight line drive, right? He can switch 1, 2, and 3. He's an NBA athlete. He's going to elevate a franchise, and he is a phenomenal, not good, phenomenal young man. And you talk about humble. Tundday Yafu, very humble. Same thing with VJ Edgecombe. These guys know where they came from, and they know what they want. They know how to get there, and they understand humility as part of the process. I see him somewhere 3 to 5 possibly. I'm in Charlotte, Pete. I'd love for him to come here, but I see in the draft, I see Cooper as 1 as of today. It's a 50-50 split between Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper for 2. I think the other guy will be 3, and then I think you got VJ Edgecombe right there at 4, and the Texas man, Trey Johnson,
he's
at
awesome.
5. I mean, those are the top 5, in my opinion, and also, more importantly, in the NBA scouts and GMs that I've spoken with. The order, could be any one of those 2, but the draft starts at 2.
All right, Igor Demon, out of BYU into the NBA. We talked about Kevin Young and his development. How do you see him sort of mixing into the NBA, and where do you see him going in the draft?
I'm going to make a pitch right now for him to go back to BYU. Go back and play with A.J. Dybantsa. And then you'll up your stock, and you have a chance to win a national championship, but that's not going to happen. Great passer, great size, vision, everything. Physical toughness is a question, but that comes over the course of time. And I love the way he moves the ball, passes the ball, gets his team in offense, runs the transition game very well. Like the throw-ahead pass is there by Igor. The jump shot is not. And that's true for a lot of these guys because they're so talented. They just don't spend enough time, game reps, shooting jump shots. They get in the gym and shoot, but shooting is like putting in golf. I mean, you've got to spend 10,000 hours to master a jump shot, and you still don't know if it's going in. So that's his deficiency, but his upside is the size, the passing, the vision, and the ability to move the ball. And that's a big thing in the NBA. You may not get the assist, but can you move the ball? Can you get that hockey assist? That's important. He has the vision and the willingness to do that. I see him right outside the lottery, right about 14, 15, 16.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
A lot of money in those spots.
The money's not bad. All right, last one.
Maybe more money at BYU, though, if you go back.
All right, how about our guy that just came to Baylor? We got Andre Iguodala II. And he's not a guy that's like an elite prospect, right? But what do you know about him? There's excitement, and I think a lot of it is kind of can be attributed to the name, but still a guy who, just looking at him and reading what guys like you have written about him and watching what they've said about him, there's a lot of excitement around him.
There should be. I mean, he's a typical freshman, right? Talented, young. He's got the genes. He's got a good frame. He's got to fill out. He's not there yet physically. Most freshmen are not. Tundday is. AJ Dybantsa is. Peterson is. So I think he's going to help Baylor in spots, but he's a guy that's going to develop over the course of 4 years. I'll tell you what he does. He plays the right way. His dad taught him well. He's a great teammate. He can score with versatility inside the arc. He's got a little bit of a jump shot that's there right now. He's a player that you're going to see get better over the course of time. And I'm sure with this recruiting process, he understands that he's a 4-year guy, right? You have to have self-awareness when it comes to recruiting as a player. And he has that. He's developed over the course of time in high school. You've heard about him a little bit, but not that much. It's going to be the same way at Baylor. Great teammate, great person. Scott Drew and his staff, I mean, they check all the boxes first when it comes to character before talent.
Coach, I mean, we check the boxes too with character guys, but you're just up there, same level of talent. It's character talent. It's awesome. I really do appreciate you taking the time and dropping some wisdom on us.
Well, thank you. I consider myself probably more of a character, but thanks a lot. I appreciate it, Pete.
Some of your boys do too, like Phil Pott,
Oh yeah, he's got me on speed dial.
Oh, that's my guy, dude. That's my guy. He speaks very highly of you. I don't know what you guys say to one another, but to me, he speaks highly of you.
Well, I pay him to do that. So.
All right, Coach Paul Biancardi, we appreciate it. ESPN analyst, draft guru, recruiting guru. Go check him out on social media. You can find him at Paul Biancardi. Coach, thank you so much. We appreciate the time.
All right, let's do it again before the draft. This was fun.
Done deal.